I typically stand for these videos, and I'm sitting this time because I want to, but I want to use this video to almost stop and reflect for a minute. We've now given you about 4 weeks of content in the Unfound Anamnesis. We're over 700 views. We're over 60 subscriptions, 50 or 60 subscriptions, 50 followers on Facebook. I think around 40 or 50 followers on Instagram. It's been a ride. It's been super fun. I'm sure a lot of you have been just diving into content, eating it up. I'm sure some of you, which we've heard from, have been taking some content in here and there, maybe feeling a little lost. And we've completely lost some of you, and that's totally fine. We understand in this process that not everyone is going to have an affinity towards what we're creating, and that's totally okay. We're doing these videos to really find our target audience, which is going to be people like Matt and myself, like these spirit seeker nerds that want to add meaning to life through fiction, right? So I wanted to take this time to kind of pause real quick. I want to kind of stop and say, hey, this is where we're at. This is what we've covered, right? This is where we're going. And then also kind of give you a behind the scenes of Matt and my's relationship. You guys have seen a little of me. You've seen a little bit of Matt. You're going to start to see more of Matt in the future, and the same amount of me, unfortunately. But just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page, right? So let's start off with first and foremost. Oh, first and foremost, I'm Dillon. This is the Unfound Anamnesis YouTube channel. Please make sure to subscribe, like if you really dig our content, like, shoot a comment, even if it's like, man, I love this, keep it coming. The more comments we get, I think it helps the algorithm. It also just makes Matt and I feel really good. So give us some dopamine. That'd be awesome. Now let's dive into it. Today, it's where we've come, where we're going, a little bit more behind Matt and Dillon. If you ever see me looking over here, I did do notes for this. So I'm not like avoiding eye contact with a green dot on my computer. I'm just looking at my notes. So first and foremost, where we've come. First, we know the premise of Bastunia. We asked the 3 paths, 3 questions. And that kind of brought us into the premise of Bastunia being, what if we lived in a world where everyone knew their calling in life upon birth? And in Bastunia, they know that because they've been gifted a spiritual beast from their God. And for the longest time in history, people actually could have multiple callings in life and go down different paths at different times of their life. We see James as one of our main characters who has 4, but 3 paths that he was gifted from God. After a while, people were only given one of these callings, right? And where we see ourselves now in the world is that God has gone missing and no one knows their calling. People are born without callings, and there's a bit of chaos. This happened a ways in the past where some people were born without callings, and there was a bit of chaos then, and now it's utter chaos because no child under the age of 15 knows what their calling is. So we understand the premise, and a young girl is gifted a beast at age 13 through this seed that her dad gave her. It's not only the first beast that has been gifted to a person of Bastunia in the last 15 years. It's actually the missing God himself, and it's on Joan and her friend and her dad to get this God back to the top of this great mountain in Bastunia. That's the premise, right? We also learned about each path. We learned about the path of the builder, people that see this world and are just filled with curiosity, and they see all the resources and they say, what can I make of all of this? And their beasts can build great structures, and they perform in a ceremony called the All Build every year, where they build the biggest structure they can build until it garners the attention of these demonic creatures from space to come down and topple it. And whoever has the highest structure, the most beautiful structure, wins, right? See the builders. We see the explorers. The explorers are the seekers, those that see this entire world and they're just filled with wonder and say, how can I understand this? And they travel great distances. They climb the great mountain, they climb mountains, they dive deep into the seas. Some of them are pirates, and they travel great distances, and they really just try to seek to understand. They perform in the climb, right, where they try to get as high up this great mountain as they can. They come down and they enjoy the view at the end of their adventure. The explorers. And then we learned about the defenders, right? The warriors, the people that were gifted beasts that can protect against these demonic creatures that come from the abyss of space, called the Zigra, who we're going to learn about next week. But the defenders are there to protect their brothers and sisters. And people, as people spread throughout Bastunia, defenders said, we need to really hone our craft and become disciplined and be able to be mercenaries and travel throughout this world to defend our brothers and sisters. And they fight in the Colosseum to see who has the highest honor to take the largest bids for mercenary work. When you need the top mercenary, you take the winner of the Colosseum. And we also, that's a bit of each path, right? The ins and outs. We learned about the archetypes and things like that. We also learned a bit of our main characters, right? We have Joan as our main character. We're going to learn more about her this week. The stubborn, bullheaded young girl who actually despises Beastborns through what she's seen in her father, but also the extremely driven, extremely passionate, this love of learning that she has, who now has the calling, which is the God to bring harmony and peace back to Bastunia. Right. So that's our main character. We've met Artie, the brave at heart, but weak everywhere else. Weak in body, weak in mind, a little dull, kind of coming from this broken background. He'll be the comedic relief. We got to learn a little bit about him. And then we met James, right? The great hero of this society that was looked to bring the God back when he went missing, who had an incredible fall from grace when he was able to not find the God and come back empty-handed to Main City. And now I want to look at you as the audience, because we have talked to a lot of you. Some of you have messaged us personally. Some of you have emailed us, unfoundanamnesis@gmail.com. Some of you have messaged in Facebook or Instagram asking questions. Some of you are like, hey, I've been following, but I'm a little lost. And hey, I'm here to let you know, that's okay. You're allowed to be lost early on. I'm sure a lot of you, if you're into fiction, you'll read books early and you'll be like, whoa, what does that mean? But you keep reading. And in fiction, we call these open loops. You'll see a lot of them as we start to build out the comic in the first chapter. You're going to see things like energy swords and hear about runes, and you're going to learn some of the lore lightly. And you're going to say, what does that mean? What Matt and I urge you to do is, if you enjoy it, keep reading. We know these are open loops and we do seek to close them. We want to keep your curiosity. We want to pique it. And we also want you to start to kind of piece together what this world looks like without us just telling you everything. That's the joy in fiction. That's what Matt and I want to bring to you. Now, that's kind of where we've been. Now, where we're going, we have heard from you all as an audience, and we'd ask, hey, what is it that you want from us? And we heard two things, really. One was, I want to know more about the lore. Who are the bad guys? How was this all created? What's the history of Bastunia? And the second thing that we heard is more of like what went into making this, the philosophy behind the writing or behind the creation of Bastunia. So we're going to do that this week. Matt and I are going to do more videos this week. And what you're going to learn is from Matt, you're going to learn about the 4 eras of the Bastunia timeline. Its origin, the time of order, the time of the crumble, and the time that we're now living in called the fall. Matt has went hard in depth in this timeline. Him and I spent days together really plotting out how many generations, where are we at, what's happened, what's been good, what's been bad. You're going to learn a brief history from Matt this week. And then from me, it's really going to be 2 things. We're going to talk about the difference between allegory or symbolism and identity when following or reading fiction. and why Matt and I created this the way that we created it. And the second thing is we're going to talk about the symbolism or the allegory of our main character, Joan. That's kind of how we're going to finish this week off. So we see where we're going. We all want a hero or a main character we can love. That's what you're going to learn. And then next week, you're going to learn of the origin story of this entire universe. Bastunia is a small microcosm in the larger universe that Ubuntu lives in with the rest of his godlike colleagues. And we're also going to tell you what it's like. Matt's going to come in. He's going to talk about what it's like to co-create a comic, with me, with this freaking creature. And then you'll also get kind of doses of what we call unfound inspirations from Matt. This kind of breaks down the difference in how Matt and I approach this. What you're going to get from Matt is you've already seen some of his unfound inspirations when it comes to books, that the learnings of these books are going to be thrown into the creation of Unfound Anamnesis. Matt is a big reader. He's actually self-published 3 of his own books. They're absolutely incredible. Where the Rubber Meets the Road, The Kaleidoscope, and The Detourist. If you have not bought them, go give them a look. They're incredible. We'll put the links in the description. But he's read a lot of books about expanding consciousness, different philosophies of life. He has the mythologies that he grew up with, and he's going to bring those in Unfound Anamnesis, Unfound Inspirations. And what you're going, Matt is the learned philosopher, very eloquent. If you've seen his manifestos, he knows how to play with words. I envy it. He's absolutely incredible at what he does. And on my side is you're going to get a little bit more of the nerd of the two, a little bit more surface level nerd, I'd say. You're going to have Unfound Inspirations. I'm going to talk to you about some video games that I've played in the past that we pulled from to create Unfound Anamnesis and Bastunia. You're going to hear about different comics that I've read that we're going to use to really build Unfound Anamnesis and Bastunia. So Matt and I work together extremely well, and we both have our skills. Matt is going to be the writer and the world builder. I'm going to kind of be the world builder and the light plotter of Bastunia. Matt's going to put meat on those bones and expound on it. And then we're going to have Evan, who will be doing the illustrations. You love his work. We're so happy that you guys are following us in this journey. Thanks for watching these videos. I know they're longer. You don't have to watch me. Literally listen to these like podcasts if you want. Just kind of pop it in your ears on the way to work if you dig it. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear any ideas, where you feel lost, what you're excited about. Drop it in the comments below. We'll see. We're really excited for this week. Stay tuned for more content from the Unfound Anamnesis. I'll see you in the next video.